Hey loves, it's your girl Sherika Shay and welcome back to the Cage Bird Sings podcast. We got King Ali on the other line. Say what's up, Ali.
What up to the people?
Yeah, so welcome back to the Cage Bird Sing podcast where we talk about incarcerated chats, meditation, and everything in between. And we inspire community and change. Let's go. Now, this episode is basically going to be an in-between. All right. So this topic right here, Ali came to me with this topic, and it's basically, does a man, I'll say, or a woman, have a right to tell their partner what to wear? Ali, I'm gonna let you start off first on this one because I want to hear what you got to say. I want to hear it. Don't be shy.
No, I'm not gonna be shy. I think obviously the topic for me. I had a conversation with some of the fellas in here, and we were sitting there, just having a normal conversation with one of my partners that got on the video chat, and his girl was, in the store. She was in the store and had some leggings on. He was pissed off. He was pissed off. Felt some type of way. So that's what brought, the conversation. When I tapped in with you, I was like, hey, Shay, look, I think this is actually like, it could be considered, an issue in that regard. So I want to speak to it, I'm not a proponent of telling anybody what to do in that regard, particularly, female. I think everybody has the right to be them, be free in themselves, but there is opposite side to that in regards to the woman that you're with or your partner, so to speak. In that regard, it can be touchy. You know what I'm saying?
Very.
So I know some women, the ladies will say, you met me and I was dressing like this. I know that will definitely come out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's a respect factor there. There has to be to the point where I understand that you want to feel a certain type of way and look a certain type of way. But shouldn't you be mindful that you do have somebody that you're with? And should you respect that? Some women may say, well, some women, women have certain things that you just can't help. Let me just say that. It's, no matter what she wears, she gonna look like, in that sense. I don't want to be too graphic, but some women can't help it, right? But no matter the case, there can be a potential problem there. Not only, with the men obviously feeling like that, but even with somebody saying something to her, you may put me in a position.
This is accurate.
Where
that's all valid.
Yeah. Well, I may have to say something. So, I just think like we have to be mindful. When we with somebody, being in that relationship, we want to respect them to the fullest. And I just think, I'm very intrigued by the topic. I want you to speak a little bit too, because I don't want to go too far. I want to give you the opportunity to speak from a woman's perspective, and then we can go from there.
Absolutely. And then too, like you had mentioned respect. Now when you say a level of respect, are you talking in regards to like the way that the woman is dressing, or is it a mere factor of not taking your partner's suggestion or preference into play?
Well, when I speak about respect, a relationship, it has different variables to it, in regards to how you respect your relationship. And I think at the end of the day, if I'm your man, I want you to respect me on every level. There's nothing to say that, in my opinion, if I see you, I want to be the only man to see you in that way, and I want to be able to have that for myself. So I want you to respect that. Or me seeing you and vividly understanding that I want to be the only one to see you in that way. Right? Am I wrong for that?
You are not wrong for that. You are not wrong for that. I think it's doable now, just depending on the relationship and depending on the two individuals, if that can even happen and be conducive, because you do have to have a different level of mindset, a different level of understanding where that partner is coming from, whether it be male or female, because, you know, we could say, hey, take that, take them gray sweatpants off or something like that, right? So just having that level of understanding and respect for your partner is very important, and it goes a long way because it's mutual. I can respect that. And then also too, sometimes you really can't, you can be modest, but some things just can't be helped. Like if somebody is fine, that's going to show through regardless. You see what I'm saying? That's going to show through regardless. Now, you can be modest in the way you dress and the way you show up and adorn your body, because I believe the body is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful vessel. So we should adorn it as best as we can. However, I'm a woman that believe in modesty as well as I believe in sexy. Okay. I believe in both. And I believe there is a time and a place for everything. But I'm the type of woman that I will consider my man's opinion and the way he feels about it, because it does come with more. You know what I'm saying? When we are dressing a certain type of way, I know a lot of women, especially for myself, I dress for myself. I dress to feel good and look good for myself, and not necessarily the other sex. Now, the other sex is going to benefit from that because I like to look good and I feel good. So, give them something to look at. You know what I'm saying? I just throw that out there real quick. But, it does have its drawbacks, when you're out here wearing the coochie shorts, boobies all out, everything all out. It has repercussions, so you have to be careful and mindful, because you don't know who's watching. You don't know who is watching you, and that's the scary part. You know what I'm saying? We want to be free to wear what we want to wear, but at the same time, you have to be on alert, and you have to be aware.
You definitely. I want to tap in a little bit, because you said some real interesting things. Obviously, the body, is special, man. That's meant for you and your partner. But obviously, you're out. You're gonna go out. You gotta go out. And I wasn't saying, and I don't think the fellas were saying it. It was just more so that you're with somebody, and particularly to what you said, you don't want to garner the wrong type of attention.
Right.
To the point where you feel like somebody saying something to you, depending on what they're saying, how you take it. He was more so too, because he's like, when she was walking, he's like, man, not being too much, she has a nice butt. So when she's in the grocery store, dudes just, he seen the one cat, he just looking like, you know what I'm saying? He like, damn, it made him feel some type of way. And when he expressed it to her, her response was, stop playing. And I'm like, damn, that's kind of fucked up. Like, stop playing. And he's like, look, going to tell her, like, babe, like, damn, like, this dude was literally just gawking at your ass. So, it's a lot to it.
Absolutely.
Like I said, at the end of the day,
absolutely, because he's not there to protect her. He's not there to protect his lady. He sees this man and the way he's interacting, so I can understand his frustration with that.
Yeah, and it kind of struck a nerve with him, but like you say, there's beautiful people. Everybody, has uniqueness to them,
Yes.
And he was basically saying, and like, he was like, look, that's mine. Like, what I'm saying? Not being overbearing, but he's like, that's mine. And, I want to appreciate that. He didn't like how the brother was faring, and I respected that man wholeheartedly. Look, what I'm saying? I told him, like, man, you can't do nothing about that, shit. She has a nice body, and that's what it is. But at the same time, maybe you can have the conversation with her, and try to get her to understand your way without trying to sound like you're being barbaric. Like, go in there, change your outfit, and don't come out until you have a, what I'm saying, like that.
Absolutely, because that can be considered
a
form of control as well. So, yeah, you got to be careful with that. And then, too, that... Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Shane.
And it's also, too, it's also a lesson for him. Because he made those choices and left her out here on her own.
That is, one of the choices that he made, because, he left his queen out there unprotected. But at the same time, the reality is we got to look at it from the standpoint of, this is a man, and, he felt some type of way regardless whether he's in here or he's out there. And he was trying to express that to get her to understand that. And she was like, basically like, shooting him off. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, the reality is, you can't control nobody in no type of way.
Absolutely.
That's a healthy period in a relationship. So, but I would like to hear, women's opinion about that. Do you feel like your man has a say-so in regards to, what you wear? I know women, y'all like to get cute. And like Cuzzo said, some of y'all like to wear them booty shorts, and things of that nature. Y'all comfortable with it, y'all look good. But at the same time, is it distasteful in the eyes of, doing it if you have a man? Could it be seen as that? Vice versa. Women, I know you got some brothers, nice looking brothers. Are you offended, when a woman, looks at your man a certain way? I'm quite sure, we can get a lot of conversation going in that way. But, yeah, that's just where that stems from, Shane. Like I said, at the end of the day, I don't promote nobody to try to control nobody. I just look at it and say, being honest, for me, in that sense, as a man, I think my eye's supposed to be for my woman, period, only for my woman. And, I want to see her in that way, me personally. And I don't want another man having an opportunity. I'm not wrong for that, and I'm not ashamed to say that. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit there and say, hey, look, man, don't wear that. But be mindful. Respect me. I'm your man, so give me that respect. You know what you look like in them shorts. I'm quite sure, because women, like, y'all sit in that mirror and make sure y'all look a certain way. So you know what you look like in them shorts and that skirt and that little body outfit. So this is keep it respectful. You give a brother a little respect. That's all we asking, lady.
I dig it, cousin. I dig it. So, ladies, y'all hear it, and fellas, chime in. Like, let us know what y'all think. Have you dealt with this, and how did you handle it? Right? Have you dealt with a partner that wanted you to be a little bit more modest when you go out? Have you dealt with a partner that was controlling in regards to what you can wear? And how did you handle that, right? How did you handle that? All right, loves. So, anything else you want to say on this topic, cousin?
That's it, man. We try to provide different topics that obviously will be open-minded people. So, definitely chime in. And leave comments, whether it's a female or a male, particularly to this topic, because I'm quite sure everybody have an opinion on it. But at the end of the day, like I said, to the brother, don't never allow yourself to feel like you want to be in a position where you control. It's always best to communicate, and communication goes a long way to your significant other.
Absolutely.
Whoever it may be.
Yes.
So give yourself the opportunity. Don't demand, fellas. Don't be trying to demand and tell that woman what she can do and what she can't do, because that ain't gonna work for you. I can promise you that. So if you feel some type of way and you think it's something being done in regards to some type of disrespect, try to communicate to your woman, man. Let your queen know. Vice versa, ladies. Vice versa.
Yes, and sometimes we need to ask the question, help me to understand why you feel this way. It's okay to ask the question. That leads to better communication, better understanding versus putting up walls and being angry. We need to ask more questions and be willing to talk and listen, because you might learn something with asking the question versus just assuming, all right, and getting upset and putting up walls and getting frustrated. On that note, y'all, we see you on the next episode. Let's end it out with our affirmations. I am a queen.
I am a king.
I am divine.
I am divine.
God is always with me.
God is always with me.
My ancestors are proud of me.
My ancestors are proud of me.
And I am protected.
And I am protected.
We see y'all on the next episode. Until next time, thank y'all for listening and tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, comment, y'all. Let us know what y'all think. Be sure to check out my journals in the description box below. Check out my new 30-day self-trust journal to help you trust your journey.